Welcome back. So, picking up where we left off from, again, it's very important to always make sure that this truck drop down box has flatbed as the listed truck because it will change the rate and it will impact the calculation. Okay, so we see looking at this that going from Romeoville to Sierra Vista, Arizona is paying $2.13 a mile. So that is what we are going to bid, is $2.13 a mile. Now, we need to know exactly how many miles the lane is. This is going to be a bit confusing because we're pretending it's from Romeoville to Sierra Vista, but it's going to throw things off because as you see, this has 1687 as the miles listed, but the truth is the lane picks up at Riverside, California, which is much closer than Romeoville, Illinois. And down here, it has a distance of 600 miles. So hopefully this is not too confusing. Again, we're just pretending it's picking up from Romeoville, but for the purpose of me showing you a very important step, we're going to put it to Riverside, California, which is the actual destination of the load, because I need you to notice something. When you're calculating, I believe it was 213 a mile. Okay, so let's just write that down. From Romeoville to Sierra Vista, Illinois was $2.13 a mile. Okay. Um, if you notice here, the mileage has changed. Riverside, California to Sierra Vista is 507 miles. But we're dealing with multiple stops here. So it's going to increase the mileage, which means that we will need to increase our rate to match the exact mileage of the lane. So it's always important when bidding on these loads to go to the very bottom of the page and look at the actual distance, which includes the stops. Okay, and you'll notice here that it's a total of 600 miles, not 507 miles. Okay, so when we calculate, we're going to calculate. Okay, now I'm going to put it back to Romeoville. I just wanted you to I wanted you to notice that. Okay, so going back to Romeoville, okay, the rate is $2.13 a mile, and we see that the distance is 600 miles. So this is the formula that we're going to use to calculate this lane. You'll want to write this down. This is very important. For any bids on Romeo and Edison lanes, you're going to use three specific details. You want to always use the market rate, which is, of course, this $2.13 a mile. Okay, you want to always use the market rate. And when using the market rate, you want to make sure that in your calculation, you are using no less than $2 a mile. So what that means is sometimes when you're entering in the origin and the destination, you may see that the lane is $1.75 per mile. Okay, that is going to be too low. We're not going to take anything less than $2 a mile. So in the event that you put in the addresses or the city, the origin city and the destination, and it's less than $200, less than $2 a mile, just use $2 as default. Okay, so that's what this means. No less than $2. Anything under $2, it's just going to automatically be $2 default that you use for your calculation. Okay. And then the next thing the next technique that we want to use is we want to add $60 per every stop plus $100 fee. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go through this calculation, and we'll kind of go over it a little bit more at the end. So $2.13 a mile, 600 miles, as we see here in TMS. All right. So using that equation, we are going to multiply I'm sorry. We're going to multiply $2.13 times 600, which is 600 miles. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So 213 times 600. So we're going to pull out our calculator. Jeez, why is this so big? All right. Pull out our calculator. 213 times 600 miles. That's $1,278. Okay, $1,278. Okay, that's the first part of our equation. So we've calculated the market rate, which is 213 per mile plus 600 miles. Okay, no less than $2. We're at 213, so we're good on that. Then we want to add $60 per stop plus a $100 fee. So let's go back again and look at how many stops this lane had so we know what to charge. Okay, this is the origin where it picks up. We're pretending that's Romeoville. And then Yuma is the first one. Casa Grande is the second stop. Tucson, Arizona is the third stop. Nogales is the fourth stop. And then Sierra Vista is the fifth stop. That brings me to something. I apologize. I forgot to mention this in the last video. TMS always deducts one of the stops off of the lanes. I'm not sure why. So when you see this, whatever the stops is on here, you need to add one to that. Okay. So you notice here, it says this is 4 stop-offs, but in actuality, it is 5. We're going to go count them again. Yuma is 1, Casa Grande is 2, Tucson is 3, Nogales is 4, Sierra Vista is 5. Okay, write that down. Very important to know, because you do not want to take a lane that has the number 6. You know, we don't bid on anything with more than 6 stops. So if it has 6 stop-offs here, that means that it's actually 7. Okay, so you don't want to bid on anything that has anything higher than the number 5, because if it has a 5, that actually means it's 6 stop-offs. Okay, and we don't bid on anything that has more than 6. So again, let's go back. It says 4 stop-offs, but we know that that means 5. So we have 5 stop-offs. Okay, going back to our notes, we're going to charge $60 per stop. So we pull out our calculator again. $60 times 5 stops is $300. Okay, so we have $300 plus we need to add $100 for a fee. Okay, for our fee. So we're going to take the 300, add 100 to it for a total of $400. Okay, so now that we have that, I apologize. Now that we have that, we're going to take the $12.78, which is the cost per mile for the lane, and add $400 to it for the stops and for the fee. Okay, so when we do that, going back to our calculator, we add $12.78 plus 400. That equals $16.78. So now we have our calculation. We know exactly what we want to charge for this lane. Okay, so we're going to go here to Yes, I Can Quote. And here we are going to put in that amount that we calculated, which is $16.78. That's going to go in the all-in total box, $16.78. Okay, and then it says the load can be picked up between May 6th and May 7th. What day will you pick it up on? You always want to use the later day. If it asks you this, it won't always ask you this, but if it does, you always make it for the latest pickup date possible. Okay? Latest pickup date possible. And then from there, um, it may ask you to give a quote, how long your quote is good for. You want to always make that 3 days from today's date. So 5/7, today is today is 5/5, so 6/7/8. Okay, 6/7/8. If it asks you for a time, just select any time. And then you're going to click I agree and submit my quote. Once you submit that quote, it will go over to the customer and they will determine whether or not they want to give us that load. Okay. That is how we bid on loads for Edison and for Romeoville. That is the standard technique that we will use for both of those cities. Okay. It's a little different in Mesquite. The technique is slightly different. So in the next upcoming tutorial, we will go over how to bid for any freight coming out of Mesquite. We'll go over the Mesquite bidding. At this time, you can go on to the next video.